What is up, everybody? Before this year, there was a debate as to who was going to be the number one wide receiver in Green Bay. And so I want to look at the Packers receivers and sort of where they stand right now at this point in the season and then talk about things going ahead into the future. So if we look here, Allen Lazard had the opportunity to come in and be the wide receiver one. And right now he has, at least when it comes to production, he has been the most productive Packers receiver. 620 yards this season, 45 receptions, 13.8 yards per reception, 5 touchdowns. But Christian Watson, as of late especially, has slowly moved his way up the charts, and his past month, as we all know, has been incredible to watch, to see him go from being injured and really not doing much whatsoever, dropping that first touchdown pass of the season, one of the first plays, if not the first play, I believe, dropping that pass. But in November, he came in, Romeo Doubs was injured, and Christian Watson balled out. And now he has 7 touchdowns, 7 receiving touchdowns. We have Robert Tonyan under him, 372 yards, 1 touchdown. Randall Cobb, 349, 1 touchdown. Has missed some games because of injury. Aaron Jones, 328, 4 touchdowns. Romeo Doubs, 314, 3 touchdowns. And Sammy Watkins, who when we signed him, we knew there was some kind of risk with Sammy Watkins. He's suffered so many injuries in his career, and he's already missed a few games because of his injuries this season, and he hasn't really been too much of a difference maker on this Packers team. There was, however, that one block last week where Christian Watson goes around in a little jet sweep, and the block of Sammy Watkins helped him get free. So he has done some good things here, but he hasn't really come in and looked as he did really early in his career, which was the hope of signing Sammy Watkins with Brian Gutekunst bringing him in. But we didn't really have to risk too much money on him. Lots of his contract was based off of incentives. And so I think when we look at the state of the Packers wide receiver room right now, it's looking a lot better than it had previously, mostly due to Christian Watson's, recent domination. And we also have to remember Romeo Doubs has not yet played since Christian Watson has started to go off. And so teams are likely going to have to continue to keep an eye on Watson, because when he has that speed, you have to, make sure he doesn't get behind you, because he can easily do it, as we have seen. And so I think Romeo Doubs, who's a really good, intermediate short route guy, can sort of do it all. I think that as the years go by, I think especially next year, this offense can be much better. Who will the quarterback be? Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love? We don't exactly know. But I think that this receiver room is going to be pretty set, especially with the Packers drafting Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. And I wanted to look at these are the rookie receivers from 2022. Of course, Christian Watson was the 7th or 8th receiver drafted, I'm pretty sure. And right now, he has the most touchdowns out of all rookies, 7 touchdowns here, 2 rushing, so 9 total. But more than Jahan Dotson, Garrett Wilson, Romeo Doubs, Chris Olave, George Pickens, Alec Pierce, Treylon Burks. Lots of first-round wide receivers who have not quite been as great as Christian Watson when it comes to receiving touchdowns. And I think for the Packers to get him in the second round, it looks like it could end up being a steal based on how productive he is. There were concerns, around the draft time with him being in a smaller school. It was an offense that was mainly focused on the run, so Christian Watson didn't really get to show everything consistently. And I think the Packers, because of that, were able to get him in round 2, which I think, they really knew the upside in him, which is why they're willing to trade 2 of their second-round picks to move up for Christian Watson. And so I'm really glad the Packers were able to get him. But let's also rank it here by receiving yards, because Christian Watson hasn't, led rookies there at least, and he's also missed, some games as well, so that sort of hurt him a little bit. But Chris Olave has been really good for the Saints. 60 receptions, 887 yards. Garrett Wilson, 790 yards. George Pickens looks like a really talented player, 512 yards. But the Packers getting Romeo Doubs round 4, Christian Watson round 2. I think the future is bright for the Packers wide receiver room. And one of the questions this offseason, which we will get into as the months go by, as the offseason officially begins in the next couple months, is what's going to happen here, because Allen Lazard will be a free agent. Randall Cobb will also be a free agent. I'm pretty sure Robert Tonyan will be a free agent, I think. And so we're going to have to make some decisions there, because we luckily have Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Samori Toure, who I think could also end up being a productive wide receiver for the Packers. And luckily those guys, with them being rookies, will be on their rookie deals, which are very, very cheap. But we'll have to decide if we want to bring back Lazard. I still think he's a very valuable piece on this team. With, he's a leading receiver currently when it comes to yards, and his job he does in the run game. Blocking is very important as well. And so I hope we at least bring back Lazard, potentially Cobb, and I think that with Rodgers being here, if Rodgers is here next year, I feel like it's more likely Cobb returns. But we'll see there. There's lots of things to discuss this offseason. But that's all what I wanted to talk about in this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see my most recent newsletter, I will leave a link down below on my Packers Q&A I did earlier today. You can go check that out, read it, subscribe if you'd like. That's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.